Beep, beep. Beep, beep, down sheet.
Welcome to yet another edition of Lama Drives, March 30th, 2019. Feels like a while since we've done one of these.
Yeah.
It's been a few weeks.
Actually, it's been a couple of weeks.
But we're back in the car, we're driving somewhere. It's the end of the day, you may be getting a bit of sun at the moment, but bear with us, it'll be behind the rain clouds in just a sec. Today's topic list. First of all, Von, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
You
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting down to Melbourne town.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
And because it's
Good.
Australia, we're having a barbecue.
In the rain.
We're always going to barbecues. That's the only place we go in Australia, is to
Yep.
barbecues.
No,
There might be other things
Did you
happening
bring
around
some
that.
shrimps?
Okay, Victoria's not a shrimp on the barbie place.
Really?
Yeah, no way.
Is that Queensland only?
That's not around this area. Sheep on the barbie, maybe.
True that. Damn, they're good.
Australia. Alrighty, today's topic list includes the DCRainmaker-GPLama podcast. Have a bit of a chat about that. We're on to episode 4 already. Von's now sporting an Apple Watch. I ask about where that came from. The InPeal power meter that I reviewed this week. We do a quick update on that. Indoor trainer testing, behind the scenes of what goes on there. Otter Classic, it's happening, it's on, I'm heading over. Power meter and head unit compatibility, a question that came through a lot. I think that was question of the week. We discussed that. And I've got a handful of other stuff which we'll run through at the end of the show as well. Kicking it off, getting into it. I'm sorry you're still in the sun, but the shade's coming shortly.
Oh, yeah, it's coming.
The DCRainmaker-GPLama podcast. We've almost got a name for the thing. We're 4 episodes in, we can't work out what we're going to call it.
Typical guys.
Typical nerds.
You two getting together. Oh, we're gonna. Oh, I don't know.
What do we call? I don't know.
Let's just start it anyway.
The chat, the podcast, something original. I think we're going with the fit file.
Okay. Yeah.
It's got a bit of a ring to it. I
Yeah.
think everything we tinker with generates fit files. So if we were to generate a fit file ourselves that is a podcast, kind of makes sense. It's quite unique.
Sounds good.
We just need to know who has the copyright on the fit file format because we.
Probably Garmin. Have to talk to Tacx about that.
Oh, geez, you're up with it on the news. Von, good stuff. Okay, so what it is, it's just a weekly podcast. We're aiming for weekly, and we've hit that target every single week for the last 4 weeks. So we're on a roll. Wouldn't call it a sure thing, but we're doing pretty well so far. What's involved in that is we have a shared document which we sort of just post up topics that we see during the week.
Yeah.
We also discuss our content for the week because we understand people might not watch all the videos that we do or all the posts Ray does or may not follow our social feeds. So it's a bit of a convergence of all that and a general chit chat because Ray and I, being the nerds and the bike nerds that we are, we can throw questions at each other. Last night's episode was fantastic. I just love recording it.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, when you have a chat with a friend and then you get to edit it up and just share it with everyone. Everyone else comes along for the ride, just like these. You're here for the drive.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I had a look at, when I listened to the last podcast, you said about rating it in the iTunes app.
Yes.
And that was the first time I've actually looked in how you rate something in iTunes. So that was pretty easy because it's just straight on the podcast header.
Yeah.
Put in the stars and hit submit, or put in the stars and add a comment. Nice and easy.
The feedback loop is a little different for a podcast because you just publish a podcast and it's out there.
Yeah, it's
in
not
audio.
per episode or anything like that. Yeah.
But also, if you want to comment on the podcast, there's no way to comment on the podcast like you can comment on these videos.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. Ray, when he does a post on his website, there's a comment section there which are quite in depth. I go through all those comments. It's a really good feedback loop for users and user experience versus information or reviews and things. Videos are the same on YouTube. I'm always in the comments seeing what's going on and answering things in there pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, I don't think a one-to-one kind of email to a mailbox would work in this scenario
Not
either.
really, no.
Because, part of the interesting thing is seeing other people's input. So maybe something more like a Facebook page, or maybe it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'm going with the latter. I think it's okay for now. People are tweeting us or replying us. Ray's pretty active on Twitter, so am I. So that's working so far, so we do appreciate that. But it's one of these things that is away from the YouTube bubble. And I've discussed this on a previous Lama Drives. After a few issues with YouTube, you're at risk putting all your eggs in one basket. So this takes both of us away from our YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Also Ray away from the website, and me away from, I pretty much just got YouTube. But all the other Instagram posts and Twitter posts and things like that, and Facebook, and just gives us another little home over here for content that we're in control of a little bit more than just being on YouTube. So I was discussing, a few things in the works for that. That's one of them, and it's been really good. The editing process is an interesting one because we can't get around the speed of light.
Yes.
Which means if
but
anyone...
it's a podcast though, right? So you don't need the visuals.
Yeah, but anybody who's done an international phone call...
yes, I do those.
or an international catch-up call, you can't really interrupt a conversation because the person's already talking before you start interrupting. There's a few low latency services out there, but it's ping times.
Yeah.
It's all ping times. So the editing process for that is to go and remove every pause between every chat.
Okay.
So it is a little bit of work behind the scenes. Last night I put the stopwatch on. It was 6 hours for the edit. For sitting down with the show notes, having a call with Ray. I think we went to Macca's and got some dinner. Actually,
you can't include that in the countdown.
It's start to finish. I will include Von's wonky ice cream.
No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't eat that. It was Shane's. I was hanging on to it for a friend.
I was with that wonky ice cream, plus or minus like 50%. That was horrible. Anyway, if you're just listening to this, I'm sorry. I'll put the visuals up. And then getting home and doing all that editing, compressing the file, uploading it, and then actually that doesn't include Ray doing the publishing of it across the board. So even the short show is 6 hours to put together, and that is even after having all the experiences that we've had during the week that we're talking about. It's a bit of work, but I do enjoy it. It is a lot of fun. So that's what goes into behind the scenes of that, and more soon on that. Next topic, Von.
Yes.
What's on your wrist?
Yes. I got a
That looks very familiar.
borrowed Apple Watch.
So while I was away, I used my travel watch is a Forerunner 935 from Garmin. Just due to the battery life, this thing is a smart watch. It'll give alerts and things and what's popping up and calendar alerts. You can also pair sports devices to and power meters, so that's a double win there. Battery life is the main reason why I wear it, and I left the Apple Watch at home. Fun, you had your eyes on the Apple Watch sitting there at home while I was away, and you're now wearing the Apple Watch. Is that Ray's influence rubbing off?
Maybe. I've been toying around with the idea for a little while now about trying to find some kind of alternate alert process, because I don't have my work email showing up on my phone.
Okay.
I get a lot of notifications from the multiple projects that I run, so I need to be able to focus my attention when I'm in meetings and bits and pieces. And it's now, as people know, the etiquette is don't have your phone face up on the desks when you're in a meeting with people, or even face down. It's still quite impolite. So now it's getting to the point where have it in your bag, and if you really need to be alerted or if there's a call coming in, it'll ring on my wrist, that kind of thing.
You can check and be a little bit more discreet about the phone stuff. Okay,
yeah.
So what you're saying is you've been eyeing off my Apple Watch for quite a while.
Looking for reasons why I would need... Well, that's the other thing. I found that the price point for an Apple Watch was not something where I would just go out and buy one just to try it.
I did, but... Yeah.
I know, you're a different beast. So now I'm trying it to see what it's like. Now, the question is it so good that I would want to upgrade?
Because this is the Series 3 cellular. Yeah. The Series 4 is out with the ECG, which was discussed on the podcast yesterday with Ray, episode 4.
Yeah, so
Subscribe
that's
below.
One thing. Like, would I consider upgrading or going to something different? Do I find not wearing it something that that I need to keep wearing it, that kind of thing? The other thing that I've been wearing it for is the incidental activity tracking, because I've been doing a lot more walking when I've been in Melbourne to and from customer sites and stuff like that.
I've seen your Strava feed, yep.
Yeah. Well, I started playing with some of the apps on here, as well as having Strava on here, as well as either just doing it via my phone, and just being able to track that incidental exercise, I thought was a great thing.
I mean, it's the same thing why I wear this. If I need to pair something to something else or checking out...
Well, you can't do that with this. So this will not pair.
Actually, that's a very good point. Again, that's another reason to go for a real watch.
That's
right.
Well,
a sports watch.
Well, yeah, more of a sports-related one. I mean, if I wanted to ride with this, I could run it as a Strava activity on my wrist, but it means I'm not going to get any of my power data because I can't and you can't merge it as well. So that's one downside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you saw Ray and I have a competition. We had an activity battle a while back. Have you battled anybody?
Yes. So one of my friends in Bendigo, Nick and I, we're in a daily battle.
Okay,
I unfortunately am behind now because I forgot to put it on yesterday.
Well, if you started to walk mode now, and as we're moving along in the car,
and the altitude,
and you've walked 120 kilometres both directions here, we're going to smash Nick. Okay, that was a bit of fun. I did win a badge for that, and I actually have a little silver badge in my Apple store on my Apple Fit thing that says you won over Ray. It's digitally engraved and everything. It's hilarious. One of the only reasons why I won that battle with Ray back in, I think it was October or November, is, speaking of alerts, is that we had a 160 kilometre ride on one of the days, and I wore the Apple Watch for that day, or I think it syncs to my Strava as well. Anyway, I didn't go to beast mode, cheat mode, but we actually did the ride.
You had a big day.
It just happened to be one of the biggest days on the bike I'd had in probably a year or two. So I stepped up with that. Okay, cool. I'm keen to hear your take on the Apple Watch Series 3. We'll check in soon. We'll see if it's still on your watch. That's probably the biggest thing.
It's not even been a week of wearing it, so I'll give you my long-term review soon.
And how's my $2 band from AliExpress going?
It's easy to take on and off. I'll give you that. It's
better
not so pretty, but
better than the traditional band. Well, we can jump online and order plenty of those for nice and cheap. Cool. Next up on my list here, the InPeak Power Meter out of Poland, the POWERCRANK, pretty generic name. It was the second power meter that I reviewed this week, or I don't like the word review. I gave my user experience. A review sort of, you see those in magazines. I do my Lama lab tests. My conclusion there was the offset was a bit funky. Something was happening every time I hit offset or zeroed the unit or calibrated. Terminology is a bit weird. It gave different readings. There were flashes of brilliance. There were also lots of non-brilliance there. I fed a bucket load of data over to InPeak. They came back with a make sure the torque bolt, your bolts are torqued down correct enough. They were, same issue. Here's the Lama Lab review of it. They're on the case straight away. So stay tuned early next week for an update on that. I don't think it's case closed, which is what I expected. I think something was wrong with the unit, software, hardware, something was going on there that needs to be addressed. But there were flashes of brilliance there. And Von, how is it living with somebody who had power meter anxiety for 3 whole days?
Oh, I've got to think of an analogy.
It did my head
like someone that knows that there's an exam coming up and that the marking on it is not looking good. You know, you're only going to get an 80% or a 60% or something like that.
You maybe get 120% on the exam, depending on the offset.
Well, then you'd be happy.
Well, I did have moments of happiness there, but cool. Anyway, updates on that. But no, that's the true reality of it. I don't treat it. I get so invested into the numbers and wanting it to be correct. I want to make videos that are all happy days. Videos that surprise me, that make me like, hey, this is an option. Cool, check this out. I don't like making videos that are like, well, this kind of failed, but that's the reality of what it is. And that's, I won't say it's my value prop. What I do, it's just what I do. And if the result of this means that, well, I end up getting a power meter that works correctly, cool, I can talk about, that means potentially a lot of other people can as well and have a better experience. And again, you've heard me say, the whole motive and motto of what I do is for people to have a better experience with technology indoors and out. There we go. Hopefully something good comes of that. So stay tuned. Next up, trainer testing, the Explova NOZA. Von, give us your take on that name of a trainer. It's backed by Acer. So
I think you've already asked me that question before.
I just like the answer to this one because I know what it's going to be.
So, let's see if that's a name that they stick with.
I think it's already out there. Well, car that you may want to stick on the road.
Yeah.
Between the lines like you do colouring in. So the Explova NOZA, it's still technically, well, it's not fully cooked yet. I did a test ride and provided a bucket load of data back to the company. We'll have a look at how that goes. Just a generic comment on it to date so far. A lot of companies have made kickers. The kicker has been very, very successful across 4.5 generations, if you call a core a 0.5 generation. Oh, plus the snap. 3.75, 4.75 generations of kicker. There's been a few out there, but companies are replicating that model. Von, is it enough to replicate what the kicker does, or for you to consider another trainer, does it have to be better than a kicker or better than what's out there at the moment? Would you look at another trainer away from the big names?
Well, sometimes it depends on the price point.
Okay,
So people consider other brands if they say, I would like a kicker, but I only want to spend 80% of the price. And if it's same, but a little bit cheaper, I'll consider that. Like, that's sometimes the factor in the decision making.
I've done videos on the second-hand market or the pre-owned market for kickers. It's quite hot, as in not stolen. It's quite hot, as in very popular. In Australia, kickers are super, super popular here.
Yeah.
We see at the end of every winter, lots and lots of trainers being put up on Facebook groups for sale, lots of kickers, not because they're a bad unit, because people have invested a few $100 in, near on 1,000. And they want to recoup costs for the summer if they're not going to be riding it. So you see quite a few of those out there. I think the competition is, this is happening more and more.
Yeah.
It'll be happening in the Northern Hemisphere now, so if you're thinking of upgrading, cross-grading, maybe if you've got a Gen 1, keep an eye out for the bargains now.
Yeah, well also, because it's coming into the autumn period now, if people aren't or looking to upgrade now, they should sell off their current units and get one of the new ones. Like at the moment, what I'm doing is going through my wardrobe and working out what I want for winter, selling off last year's stuff and getting new stuff. So yeah, similar thing, it's a seasonal
I like how
cleaner.
you steer the conversation there from kickers into your wardrobe.
Yeah.
Done well. By the way, nice new top. I like the colours. Okay, cool. So the Explova NOZA, not a Lama lab test publication yet. When it's fully cooked, fully done, and the commercial product is, given the tick of production approval, we'll go through that and have a look. But my concern is it just another kicker? I don't know. The price point, I think, is going to be the killer. It needs to be there needs to be incentive around it.
So does it have the same kind of through-axle compatibility?
Native through-axle support.
Does Kicker have that?
The new ones do. Yes.
Okay.
The old ones had an adapter, but the new ones onwards with the things that support the climb with the
the pivoting.
pivotal things. We'll talk more about through-axle support in trainers in just a few moments. Next up on my list here, Sea Otter.
Otters from the sea.
I was discussing whether I go or not back to the US because I just come back a week ago. I'm still even got getting over the jet lag from that. Yes, it's on. We are going. Getting the band back together. Des from DesFit, Ray from DC Rainmaker, Shane from me. 3 of us will hit up the Sea Otter for the 2 or 3 or 4 days there.
You will triangulate yourselves to the one location again.
And it'll be great. We will do podcasts, we will do video things, we'll just hang out and talk bikes like we did back in December. Von, you were there in December.
Oh, it was amazing.
In Amsterdam.
Unfortunately, I can't join you this time around. I've got a few things on.
Yeah, well, this is sort of like last minute. But yeah, I'm racking up the long haul flight miles with United, so it's all good. United have been okay. People ask who do I fly internationally with? To the US, it's United. They do have a premium economy with like this much more room that you can pay a little bit more for it. It's just, that's all you need.
All right, if that's what you think.
It does cost a bit of money though from Australia, but I think it's going to be good. I was going to say I need a holiday, but this will be kind of work, I guess.
It will be work.
Yeah. What kind of work? If I get to go to Sports Basement and REI, it's not going to be work, it's going to be a shopping trip.
I'll put my order in now.
We are staying near Sports Basement. If anybody from San Francisco knows Sports Basement, please tell me it's still open, and please tell me how awesome it still is. Because we went there, I got a pair of Hokas, some jeans, more sports food than we could hang on to, Cliff Bars for days.
I got some hiking boots and a jacket. Yeah, it was great.
Love it. So, when you ever have a good experience at a store, you just want to go back. Bring it on. So Sea Otter coming up. I take off Saturday, just over a week's time. So if you're in San Francisco, let us know. Come say hi. And I was going to say, let us know where good coffee is, but there's good coffee in quite a few places in San Francisco.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
It's all good. Question of the week. And this was a strange one. 3 or 4 or so, and different methods of communicating to me, asking questions. People saying, I'm looking at this power meter, or that power meter, or I'm looking at this head unit, I have this power meter, are they compatible? The generic answer is yes, absolutely. Typically these days, everything is compatible with everything in regards to power meters and head units. There's a few edge cases which may be tripping people up when doing their research. First of all, the one power meter versus head unit issue that I came up with this year already, was it this year, maybe late last year? Time is flying. The XKD power meter out of China wouldn't pair to my Wahoo Element.
Okay.
For whatever reason, just wouldn't, don't know why, don't know when. It may have been resolved. I believe what was happening there is the developer ID or the manufacturer ID was set to generic or testing or developer. Or the manufacturing ID in the Ant Plus was set to developer. So that Wahoo may have been hiding those units away in the code. That may have been fixed, not quite sure. That's the only one I've come up with where you can't pair. Another one will be something like the Pioneer power meters, which was on the bike this week. I got a beautiful shot of the bike. I'll put up here. I like the look of that. That unit in pedal monitor mode is not compatible with any other head units other than the Pioneer head units. It has its own communication. Private ant, I believe, high speed, gives you more data, records different to the WFIT file, etc. But in standard or dual, or in single or dual mode, which you can flip that unit to, it's compatible with everything. So the answer there to everybody shooting me messages about, is this compatible with that for power meters and head units? Yes, unless those other cases are involved. So Von, have you ever had any problems with pairing things with your head unit? Garmin units that you use are pretty good. The bolts you've seen I've been playing with?
I'm trying to think. I think I had some heart rate strap issues initially, but that's all been resolved by using the Ticker X.
Cool.
And then just a comment earlier around trying to get additional sensors to an Apple Watch. So if you're trying to use something like that, yeah, it's not going to work.
Yeah, yep, that's it. But it's all pretty good. Standards are good. Having said that, I did stumble up against a standard today that wasn't there. More on that soon, as we release more information. On my list of other things, I've got a big, huge list of other, which don't fall under anything in particular, but we'll just quickly run through them. Rapid fire. Road Grand Tours have rebranded and re-released their product, the virtual cycling software, released at the London Bike Show that's on right now. I believe the major change, well, I haven't gone through it totally, but the major change that I've seen them talk about and other people talk about is that the companion app that they now have is a controller for the experience on screen.
Okay.
So you now need to have your mobile phone device, and you can do sort of what we wanted on Zwift, take it all off the screen and put it on our mobile. I believe they've done that. I'm keen to check it out. There's a few issues with the Microsoft app certification, because now you've got to get app certified by Microsoft too to go in the Microsoft store.
Yep.
So there was a little delay there, but all is good. Check out the RGT groups. They've called themselves now RGT. Hashtag RGT.
Tour. Right, yes, yes, I'm with you.
Go Beyond, I think, is their tag for that. Anyway, Road Grand Tours, moving along. Coming up in the Lama Lab, the Magine Gravat 2 Smart Trainer. Magine sent over their power meter, which we saw this week, the Smart Trainer and the heart rate monitor. It'll be difficult for me to do a video on just the heart rate monitor. One beat, one blip, job done. I may include that in the Magine Gravat review. I might wear that
combine it.
Yeah, because it's just to put the heart rate strap on. Does it collect the data correctly? That's pretty much a solved problem there.
Do you wear 2 heart rate straps then to verify it, or?
That's a good point. I might put an optical. I might put the Ticker Fit on the arm and see how that goes.
It's measuring from a different point.
It is, but it's still the same heart. Maybe.
Too strong heart.
Maybe. Have a cold, dead heart, according to some people. Crown rollers are still sitting there in the box waiting for me to go. I've got to get those on. The GP 5000 tubeless tyres had a bit of an incident this week. I've sliced a sidewall in the front. Not happy days.
No.
Tubeless and I, we have a respectful relationship. Brand new, not a problem. They install fine, they go well, they ride well. Tubeless ride. Von, you ride tubeless?
I'm riding tubeless. I cannot tell the difference.
Okay, cool. So that means that's 2 thumbs up. But when you encounter issues such as a tight slide wall and you've got to take them off and swap them all out, that's when you do run into complications of maintenance. Let's say that. Tubeless tyres are a bit of a religion, even to YouTube, apparently, given they demonetise most of my tubeless Why are they demonetising my... Anyway.
Because he swears.
I blocked them out. I actually blocked them out. It was kind of a comedy skit, my last attempt at fixing it. Anyway, so I had a blowout on the front. I've had to change the front out. I'm going to switch to Clinchers. I have some GP5000 Clinchers with some latex tubes to go in on the bike. Right. So we'll see how they go. I'm running a hybrid solution at the moment, which does my purest roadie... does my head in. I'm running tubeless on the back and tubed on the front.
Okay, I thought you were going to say cyclocross and road or something.
It sort of feels like that. It's like wearing 2 different shoes or 2 different socks. Can't be. Anyway, I'm getting away with it now. I just don't look down when I'm riding my bike. I'm disgusted in myself with the current configuration of my bike. And also in the mail this week, Festive 500 mail time.
Yay!
It's only the end of March. What did we receive on?
We got our little roundels, which are more squirrels, but...
Squirrels?
Squirrels? We got squirrels.
We got squirrels in the mail.
Don't smuggle animals, kids. Yeah.
They got through customs. We don't have squirrels here in Australia.
No.
Okay, so you have your Roundel.
Yes.
Or your Squaredel. I'm a little uneasy now that I selected it. Give me the patch.
I'm happy. I love it.
Well, they kind of shamed everyone into, you can select the Roundel to be mailed out to you, or if not, we will donate something to charity. So I kind of feel like I'm taking away from some hungry kid in Africa that he hasn't got a bike to ride to school now that I selected the little Roundel. Well,
maybe you need to make a donation to Africa then.
That'll make me feel better, but there's still $2 missing from that little kid because you made the... No, but on a serious note there, on an actual serious note, I felt bad selecting the Roundel, but I still did it, so I didn't feel that bad. So I think it was a history thing. I've collected them all so far, so I just want the next one.
The ones that you've done.
Hey, actually I didn't do it. Oh, the burn. You made me feel bad. I've got hurt feelings.
Can't take mine.
Tears of a llama. Okay, it's almost time to wrap this one up. More hurt feelings. The Neo 2 has been prized for my cold, dead, double-hearted hands. And so, Yvonne, tell us about the Neo 2. You saw it sitting there, again, with my travels recently. I got a message in the middle of the night with, hey, which trainer is the quick-release support? Because Yvonne wanted to do an indoor session while I was away.
Yeah, it was raining.
None of them. They were all through axle converted.
Yeah. Sad face wife.
Sad. So...
No workouts.
No workouts done there. I said to Yvonne, look, the best option was to jump on the Snap and try that.
Yeah, that was never going to happen.
Ooh.
I'm not putting my bike on the Snap. Forget it.
Wow.
And you're like, make sure you use the right skewer.
Right skewer. Make sure your tyres clean and make sure...
Forget it.
Well, there's a barrier for entry for a wheel-on trainer. There we go.
I'm just not interested.
Are you that much of a... You're an indoor roadie snob.
Totally. I would die rather than use a wheel-on trainer.
Well, I've almost died using a few wheel-on trainers, so that doesn't get you out of the woods there. So, Yvonne, you'll be having the Neo 2.
Yes, please.
For testing during this winter.
Yes.
You will be required to run 2 head units because you have the Quark Ant Plus on your bike still, the S-Works Spider from many years ago, but that's been quite reliable. I'm keen to see how you go. You were using the Neo 1, which is sort of in place now for all the Lama lab tests.
Yep.
Keen to hear your feedback. We'll see how you go with the cadence. Given the cadence sensor, that's pretty much the biggest difference with the Neo is the cadence sensor built in.
Yep, I run a separate cadence sensor as well, so we should be able to verify that.
There we go. Data from everywhere. Rock and roll. Alrighty, I think that's about it for today. That's my list done. Anything else to bring up?
No.
Oh, sorry, that almost got you in the head. We're going to get done here for improper use of a motor vehicle or something for making YouTube content. Anyhow, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Come along for the ride. It's been a few weeks since we've had one of these. Check out the DCRainmaker/GPLama podcast.
Yeah, it's actually good.
All other things of just chatting of what we're up to. It's just a summary of what we're up to for the week and a bit of chit chat.
And good collaboration.
It's a bit of fun. It's easy. It's so easy to do. You just talk bikes, talk tech. It's what we're doing anyway. We just hit record and just chop it up and hit upload. It's all good. And also be sure to check out our Instagram posts. Also Von's, I will link below. Von's having a bit of fun on Instagram and Strava, etc. because there's something happening all the time, but we just don't get a chance to package it up and put it up on either YouTube or things like that. Hope everyone is well. Let us know where you are watching in from. Has the weather turned for you? It's certainly turned for us here.
Yeah.
Jumpers, it's raining, sheep patrol, looking pretty grim.
It's okay, we've got heated seats in the car.
Nice. All right, see you soon.